Hello again, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about how to move through uncertainty. Okay, now uncertainty is inevitable. Okay, we can never really know for certain what's going to happen in our lives, what's going to happen next in our lives, in all aspects of our lives: relationships, career, financial, friendships, social. Everything is in a constant flux. That means everything is in a constant change, which is very natural. It's a normal part of life. But at the same time, we are comfort creatures, creatures of comfort. We like certainty. We like to know where we stand. We like to know how things are going to play out because that's safe. Excuse me. And because that's safe, we want life to, and because we're comfortable with safe, we want life to be safe. Okay? So what we're going to be talking about today is when life is uncertain, when we don't know what the outcome is, how we can deal with that, what we can do to move through that and to work with that. So if this is something you're interested in, then stay tuned, and I hope you get some benefit from this. So let's start. Okay, so moving through uncertainty. Okay, so as I said, uncertainty is unavoidable. We can never really eliminate it. Okay, as much as we want to eliminate it, as much as we want to try and hope that the outcome will be that we want it to be, there is never any guarantee that it will be what we want it to be. Okay. Now, when uncertainty pops up in our life, we tend to overestimate the odds of something bad happening and underestimate our ability to cope with when something bad happens. Excuse me. So what does this mean? It's basically we hope for the best but expect the worst, and we also don't think we're capable of coping, or we don't have the tools and we don't have the ability when the worst happens. Okay, so we feel like we're going to suffer in some way and we cannot get through it, and so forth. Okay, worrying actually makes people feel worse, not better. Okay, so when you're worried about something, you actually feel worse, not better. So if you weren't worrying about it, you would feel better. Okay, I think that's pretty obvious. Excuse me. So Henry Frederick Amiel said that uncertainty is the refuge of hope. So what does that mean? Okay. So the foundation of hope is uncertainty. It's you don't know what the outcome is, but hope is that we want the best to happen. Okay, and we need that. We need hope to basically get us through very difficult situations. We need hope that the best can happen. And sometimes people rely solely on hope to get them through the day. Hoping that the next day will be better than the day that they're having now. And there's actually nothing wrong with that. Excuse me. That's not to say that it will happen, but hope can actually drive us to keep moving forward. And what will happen is eventually the best will happen. It will. It's guaranteed to happen. Okay. The only way that the worst will happen is if you stop, if you quit. And so forth. Okay, but if you keep moving forward, eventually the best will happen. Okay, so really what you're doing is you're hoping that it happens the next day, but if it doesn't happen the next day, then you're hoping it happens the day after, until eventually it does happen. Okay, so really that's where grinding, that's where discipline, that's where keeping moving, that's where that's when you keep moving by putting one step forward, one step at a time, excuse me, that's all part of hope that you're eventually going to reach your destination, and you will reach your destination. The only way to not is to stop, as I said. So when you reach uncertain times, okay, what can you do? So here are 5 things that you can do when uncertainty comes into your life. Number 1, focus on the short term. Okay, so become present. Come into the moment. Or when I say short term, like if you're uncertain around something that's going to happen tomorrow, focus on today. Let tomorrow be tomorrow's problem and just focus on today, on the rest of the day. Okay, if something is going to happen in half an hour, let's say you've got you're going to see someone and you don't know how they're going to react, or you have a job interview, or you have an appraisal, or you have an audit, or you have somewhere where you're not sure what's going to happen, excuse me, and you want it to go well, but you're scared of the worst. Okay, and let's say that's going to happen in half an hour. Okay, bring your thoughts back to the present moment. Okay, so what does that mean? That means basically time is broken up into little bits, and I will actually draw that here while I've got you. So basically you've got moments of time. So that's one moment of time, that's another moment of time, that's another moment of time. Now think about it this way. If you're worrying, and let's say this is your worrying, okay, this is your worrying curve, and you're worrying all the way up here for these moments of time, okay, they're moments lost. They're moments that you can't get back. And the uncertainty lies all the way over here. So half an hour away. It lies all the way over there. Okay, so these are moments of time that you're worrying. Okay, but there's nothing really happening to you in this moment. Now, let's say half an hour comes, excuse me, and normally what happens is when you start being in the situation that's going to make you worry, the worry actually goes away. So when the job interview starts, when you're finally talking to that person, when you're in that event, the worrying actually goes away. You don't actually worry when you're doing the thing that you're worried about. Okay, so really it's just a precursor. Worry is all about a precursor. So even if the worst happens, you still feel better because you finally know. Okay, so really you're worrying over something that the worrying causes more suffering than the suffering that you would get excuse me, from the actual thing itself, so if you put it that way. All right, so you've spent all this time worrying, okay? So I've got some new pens. I'm going to use this one instead. This one's a bit better. I'll use the black one. Okay, so you've spent all this time worrying, okay, when really, regardless of the outcome, you will feel better afterwards. So what you can do is focus on the moment. If you don't worry, like, these are moments that you don't need to worry. Okay, if you're not worrying in these moments, and you're doing something constructive, you're doing something productive, excuse me, you're doing something that helps you feel good in those moments, you're actually using those moments productively. Okay, you're turning that worry and that fretting into something productive, and that could be drawing, that could be, doing something, reading, it could be doing something different. Okay. So use those worrying moments and turn them into something productive. So focus on the short term. What can you do now? And this comes to becoming present, meditation, breath work, and so forth. Okay. So that's number one. Okay. Focus on the short term. 2, recognize and acknowledge what's working. Okay. So what is working for you through the uncertainty? Okay. Excuse me. And that could be anything, For example, you might have a job interview coming up, for example, and you're worrying about it. But what's working? Okay, what's working is that you actually got the job interview. So what's working is that on some level they are interested in you. So you do have something that they're interested in. Okay, so that part of you is working. There is, you have the degree, you have the experience. Okay, otherwise they wouldn't consider you. Okay, so focus on what is working, and this kind of ties into number 3. Okay, and recognize your achievements. Okay, so when you're uncertainty, recognize what you have achieved to date. Okay, excuse me, and even backtrack. Like backtrack. When have you pushed through uncertain times in the past? Because that is an achievement. Okay. Give yourself a pat on the back for conquering all the challenges that you have conquered to get to where you are now. And this is really just another challenge that you're going to move through, that you're going to push through. Okay, good or bad, whatever the outcome is, you will move through it. Okay, so recognize your achievements in perseverance. Okay, that you've persevered through challenges in the past, and you'll persevere through these ones. Okay, get practical advice. Okay, so this is particularly helpful. For example, if you're uncertain about how to do, you know, um, I don't know, let me think here. So if you're uncertain about how to, let's say you're driving a car for the first time. Okay, and I do have a couple of clients who have never driven before, and they've just got their P's and or their L's, and they're very scared because they've never driven before. They're uncertain about what it's going to be like. Okay, all right. So what they do is they get practical advice by hiring an instructor. Okay, that's an example of getting practical advice. Excuse me, or their parents or partner or whoever it is to help them to drive. That's getting practical advice through uncertainty. Okay, or if you're uncertain around a promotion or career, get practical advice from a career counselor, or from a co-worker, someone who's been through what you're going through. Get practical advice on how they dealt with it. How did you deal with it? Okay, and try and apply that. Find meaning in the chaos. Okay, so one thing that I tell a lot of my clients is that the universe never puts anything in front of us that we're not capable of overcoming. Okay, there's always a lesson to be learnt, regardless of whether you win at the scenario or whether you learn. And I don't like to use the word lose or fail, because we don't really lose or fail unless we stop or quit. Excuse me, as I mentioned before. So we either win or we learn. Okay, so what can we learn from this uncertainty? And that's a very important question. Okay, it's very important because you're turning the uncertainty into growth. You're learning to grow through that experience. And really, this is what we want. We want to be able to grow. Okay, and the uncertainty is an opportunity for us to grow. It tests our resilience. Okay, excuse me. It can help us to come up with new tactics and new strategies to overcome these challenges. And regardless of the result, if it doesn't work, that's okay, because it just means that we've learned something else that doesn't work. And if it does, it only needs to work once. Okay, if it works, then we can carry this new lesson with us for the rest of our lives. Very, very powerful stuff. Okay, so these are some ways on how you can move through uncertainty and turn uncertainty into strengths. Okay, turn it into strengths so that you can move through life and courageously move forward regardless of what the outcome is going to be. Okay, because what you don't want is to be in that freeze mentality where something challenging happens and you just freeze. Okay, even running away is better than freezing, because running away means that you can actually go back to a safe space. You're still in momentum, you're still moving. So if you're going to choose between freezing and running away, then run away. Okay, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, so if you are frozen, if you are paralyzed, frozen because things are so uncertain and you're so fearful from it, okay, try and bring yourself back into the moment. Okay, try and be mindful of your thoughts at those moments. Okay, and what you can do is you can try to just start pinching yourself, pinch your nervous system. Okay, activate your sympathetic nervous system. Okay, tense your muscles and relax, tense and relax, tense and relax. Okay, get that blood flowing through your body. Giving yourself a micro shock is actually really good because it forces you to come back to the present moment. Okay, so pinch yourself. Okay, if you stimulate your nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system. Okay, that's if you're frozen. That's if you can't move. If you're paralyzed with fear. Okay, activate your sympathetic nervous system through pinching, through something, so that you can really, just pinch your wrists. If you have an elastic band, flick the elastic band on you. Something just to stimulate your sympathetic nervous system. That'll bring you back to the present moment. So, just to recap, uncertainty is unavoidable. Okay, so the things that you can do: focus on the short term, acknowledge what's working, recognize your achievements, get practical advice, and find meaning in the chaos. Okay, uncertainty, as I said, is unavoidable. Okay, there will always be uncertainty. It's a natural and normal part of human life. We cannot grow without uncertainty. If life was paved and we knew the path, what would be the point? Like it's the reason why watching reruns of movies and playing the same game over and over and listening to the same song over and over gets boring, because we know what's coming up. It's the excitement, the unknown that drives us to strive for better. To watch that movie, to see what's going to happen, that keeps us on the edge of our seat. Excuse me. What's going to happen next. It's the uncertainty that brings excitement when we get a new present. When you're opening the wrapper, it's like, wow, what is this? And uncertainty doesn't have to be a bad thing. Okay. Job interviews, another classic example. People are very nervous, very scared in the uncertainty. Will I get hired? Won't I get hired? And either way, it's okay. If you get hired, fantastic. Okay. But then there's uncertainty around the role, who you're going to meet, your manager, their attitude, all that sort of stuff. So you're really replacing, you're no longer uncertain about that. So you're certain about you've got the job. So then you can start focusing on what else you're uncertain about. And it can become, and if you're in that whole fear-based mentality, constantly worried about what's to come, constantly worried about what's uncertain, you're not going to get anything done. You're going to be paralyzed with fear. So as humans, like, we really be resilient. We and a bit of tough love. Like, sometimes you're just going to have to get over it and move on. Okay, and just do the thing that you got to do, regardless of the outcome. Because a lot of the cases, a lot of the time, especially for people of growth mindset, excuse me, the pain and suffering of not moving through the uncertainty and not actually pushing through regardless of the outcome is actually far greater than not even attempting it. Okay, a lot of the time, especially people of growth mindset, feel like they're a failure if they don't put themselves in that situation, regardless of the outcome, because at least they've done it. At least they know. Okay, and I want to invite you to do the same thing. Okay, next time you're uncertain about something, give it a go. Have a go. Okay, regardless of the outcome, have a go. Be brave. You can do that. Trust your abilities. Remember, we tend to overestimate the odds of something bad happening and underestimate our ability to cope with something bad happening. So that underestimate our ability is the key there. You have the ability, otherwise it would not come into your path. And if you don't get the job, so what? So what? You get another job. You'll find something that resonates with you. And as I said, the universe never puts anything in our path that we're not capable of achieving. So the job that you eventually do get might be the one that you're supposed to get compared to the one that you're going for now. Maybe the partner that you're supposed to get in the future is the one that you're supposed to be with compared to the one that rejected you now. All right. So if relationships are classic, I've had clients who are scared to date or to approach men or women. Excuse me. Pardon me. Sorry, a bit of a frog in my throat. Because they're scared of rejection. They're scared of the uncertainty of what the other person is going to think. If they say no, so what? Statistically speaking, you're going to get a no a lot more than you're going to get a yes when it comes to asking someone out or wanting to go on a date with someone. All right? But also, what happens fundamentally, you grow. Every no, that can actually help you to grow, to grow your confidence. Okay, so the next time you can ask again, and you'll ask more confidently and more confidently. Okay, and you will eventually get a yes. You will get a yes eventually. Once again, hope. You hope that you get a yes, and if you don't get a no, that's fine. Then you hope for the next one until you will get a yes eventually. It will happen. Okay? Business is another classic example. There's a lot of businesses that start and then fail and then they're dead, because it's hard. Running a business is bloody hard. There's a lot of uncertainty in business and it takes a lot out of you, but perseverance, moving through the uncertainty is key. It's fundamental. Every single business in the world has got to where it's get to through some level of uncertainty. whether good or bad, whether through bankruptcy or not through bankruptcy. Richard Branson has been bankrupt multiple times, you know? So when uncertainty comes your way, all right, trust that you have the ability to push through it. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you have, please like, please subscribe. You can always contact me. As I say, my website is www.alexrodriguez.com.au. It's got my email address, my phone number, so info@alexrodriguez.com.au. I won't tell you my number. I always say in every video my number, but I'm not going to actually share it here because I want you to go to my website. So if you want to call me, just go to my website, alexrodriguez.com.au. Feel free to call, and I'm happy to help you with whatever challenges you're going through. With that said, I will see you guys next week. Bye.